Does anybody smell that? It smells like burning. But it's okay. I'm immune to incinerate. Or am I? Why did I choose to make a video about Incinerate? Well, if you look at the state of affairs currently in the game, a character like Ghost Rider should receive a fire, incinerate, or any type of flame immunity, but unfortunately he does not. Now, when we talked about the character potentially coming into the game in the video Ghost Rider, and have a look at that video, I talked about the idea that maybe the character should have some kind of immunity to incinerate, but unfortunately the character does not, and that's really kind of disappointing from this aspect of these characters being put into the game, taking in the core material from the Marvel Universe. And I know how a lot of you are very passionate about that, and some of you don't care about it. But the fact of the matter is, you have to care about where these characters come from to where they can be implemented in the game, and what abilities and immunities they should receive. Further to that argument, well, Ghost Rider I thought would have had poison immunity, and he doesn't, which is kind of odd for a character of his making. The same thing can be said for Dark Phoenix, or the Phoenix line in general. They're not even Incinerate immune, which is really, really weird, because the character dishes out Incinerate and should therefore not receive it based on the significant power that the character possesses, especially from the Marvel Universe transpiring over onto the game at large. Another thing is Luke Cage isn't Incinerate immune. From watching the television series on Netflix, which you should watch by the way, and also having a look at some of his past history, one thing that strikes me as odd is that the character has a significant amount of immunity in various different areas, and this is not replicated into the game. A few other characters could really see some extra immunity in some sort of way to really kind of make authentic character, which a lot of us comic book aficionados can then take over and just go, oh, right, this is brilliant because this has been well implemented, and there's still opportunity to do that. If you did watch the television show Luke Cage, you'll notice that there was certain moments where he was dipped in acid to have a very unique shrapnel removed from his body. So that's the thing, like, the character can withstand so much of these detrimental effects, so it should be a case that this should be implemented in the game going forward. Another argument is based on vibranium. Vibranium, at the moment, we don't know a specific temperature in which vibranium melts. So therefore, certain characters that might wield, say, shields or be made of solid vibranium, then it's hard to kind of pinpoint a melting point for these items. Likewise, you could have an argument with the Vision and Vision, in that should they be immune to lots of different things. Now, we've seen in the films that we've seen Vision take weakness there, but when it comes to things like Incinerate, the character should not be able to get Incinerate. He should be immune to that as well, which is not currently on his stats. So maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Maybe there needs a big flush through of an update. So people might ask, Rich, well, what's Incinerate? Well, it's largely found within the waste destruction industry. And when they're incinerating items of waste, they're largely reaching 1000 degrees C. Now that could be seen as very hot, but it's not as hot as the sun. The sun at the moment is 15 million degrees Celsius. That's the surface of the sun. That's a lot hotter than an incinerate. So how does it apply to the character being incinerate immune, which is obviously the bold statement I made? Well, it goes back to, again, his powers, and he can, freeze things at a molecular level. So even this argument here about preventing some fire from accessing his powers, the character produces some fire, the character produces solar fire. So the heat that is generated from the character is kind of should be enough to then melt through anything of Iceman's. But this is actually a long-winded argument, and I'm going to go through some other examples. Another argument is based on his power enhancement. This particular article on Sci-Fi Stacker, during his time with X Factor, but in the pages of Thor, issues 327 and 378, March and April 1987, Iceman was captured by Loki, and his powers could be used to gain control of frost giants. Loki enhanced Iceman's powers so much that he lost control of them and had to wear inhibitor belt for some time. This picture is taken from that particular instance where his powers have been enhanced, and he's in more of a kind of an ice form as a kind of a constant. So that's when again his powers are being enhanced. he's going to be more powerful. It doesn't state of how much more powerful, but the character is then shaped in a certain way that in the future he's very careful about what power he uses, because he doesn't want to lose control. The same way it could be said for other characters losing control, and we've seen it in DC comic books, we've seen it in Marvel, where some characters have that kind of human aspect where they don't want to lose great control. From an application point of view to the game, if you were to put this character in Marvel Contest of Champions, then they'd have to be very clever about what they do with Incinerate, because there's arguments for and against. Is he more powerful? Writer Mike Carey said that Iceman is an Omega level mutant and his powers can influence the exosystem of the entire world. So there's also an extensive amount of heat that he would have to, say, cool down. And even Apocalypse considers Iceman to be one of the 12 most powerful mutants on Earth, which again is a great compliment to the character. But would it be as powerful to be Incinerate immune? And what kind of powers could the character tap into? If you saw X-Men 3, you know there's a scene where Bobby is being pinned down and Pyro is firing so much fire into him, and he's down on the floor and then gets into a more kind of extreme solid ice mode. Now, it's hard to kind of then pinpoint that against the temperature that Pyro is actually kind of emitting at the character, because he can only control flame. In that, could he change the flame like some Spot would? So that's a kind of, again, another argument with regards to the intense heat that the character could withstand or not withstand. To summarize my thoughts on Iceman being put in potentially to the game and the extent of Incinerate. So as I said in the previous video, with Iceman being put into the game, I do to a degree stand by what I said about Incinerate immunity. I doubt it will be seen, but because the character has Omega level status when it comes to his abilities, we don't see it in films, comic books, or anything like that. Well, very rarely in the comic books that he's tapped into this power, because you know, he's young, he's calculated, he doesn't want to tap into powers, he's scared of his powers, and he keeps it very kind of under wraps and under control, similar to Rogue. And when it comes to putting into the game, I think it would probably be a kind of a lackluster look. The long and short of it is, like I said, we're going to see a decent character if he was put in. I don't think we'll see a lot of the immunities that I would have liked to see. Probably be a bleed immunity, but I think going back to the argument people were saying about Incinerate being immune, I think you're right. I think when the character gets into the game, it won't have. But from my perspective and the things we've looked at, I feel he should be, because he's a lot stronger mutant than we know. The general consensus on Incinerate is things aren't going too great with it. I really wish that Caban would have thought about certain characters having Incinerate immunity, because we're getting these things like, you know, obviously got poison immunity, bleed immunity, and not a lot of characters that I don't think any characters at the moment, I mean, recording this video, have Incinerate immunity, and there's some that really should have it, especially Ghost Rider. But you can't have everything, but like I said, Caban put out a great game. So thank you very much for watching this video. This has been a video inspired by Whistle This via his Reddit post, which is a fantastic read. I enjoyed reading through the comments and the information people were providing. Hopefully this has added a bit more to that, as well as, you know, shed some light on the incident that we've got. And hopefully then people will kind of understand where it comes from, the argument for Iceman as well. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Incinerate, maybe the comic book history we discussed, maybe some more information based on that. If you want more content like this, then yeah, give it support, give it a like, and subscribe if you want some more info in the future. I've been RichTheMan, and I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Sammy the Toys, Head of Marketing here at the RichTheMan channel. And if you enjoyed that video, then hit that subscribe button and give the boy a like. Now give me some bloody lettuce! Yeah, that's nice. It's like what I want to see. Right. Yum. So good. Yeah, tasty. Yum.